Nancy, when you look back on your career, was there a specific moment that you identified as truly monumental or defining your path or your course or your choices?
Oh boy. I think you have multiple defining moments over the course of the career. If I think early on, I'm a big believer in you've got to be doing to do the learning. So I had 4 internships over the course of my college, and initially I thought I wanted to be in HR, and 2 internships in realized that wasn't where I wanted to be. And it was a conversation with someone in Washington D.C. actually where I was, and just sort of said, because of some of the questions that he was throwing at me, he was watching what I had done over the course of the summer and challenged me in a couple spots, and it allowed me to refocus. After 2 internships and really get committed to more of the sales and marketing and strategy and leadership. So that to me, was a big defining moment.
So you had to recalibrate at that point.
Yeah, to say, I'm not going to this HR piece, I'm going, somewhere else. But I think it's curious, people have always been at the core of my strategy. So whether I was in HR, the function, people was always, sort of how I looked at the world. And so I've carried it forward, but not in a career choice, but more in an orientation and philosophy choice. So that, I think, was a defining moment. I think, when you have, the last internship I had before I left and graduated from college, there was an individual there who, again, watched what I had done in the course of the time and in some of the mentoring responsibilities said to me, you're going to need to learn boundaries. And I said, well, I don't understand what that means.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what that means. And she said, well, because you're such a hard worker and you dive in, she said, you're going to have to learn to say, where do I put the boundary? Because work's never going to tell you to go home. So you're going to need to learn, your own personal boundaries. And you also, because of the standards you have, you're going to set the standards so high, which is multiples above where most other people set it. And so that will then become your marker of are you performing or not. And so be thoughtful about that because there's easy burnout. And so some of those kind of early mentoring conversations, I think, were helpful for me to reshape how that is. And that woman in particular, I went to look for 25 years later.
Oh, really?
And was able to say thank you. Yeah.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah. So I think, you have those in an early part of the career. If I go back all the way to high school, I had a speech instructor who believed in me and pushed me to be in speech competition. And so that, helped shape my ability to communicate and my belief in, what your stage presence is and how important it was to have that. So those, I think, were instrumental. I think if you look at your career then past that, you have professors in your master's program or your exec ed program, I think that, take interest in you and your story, slow down enough to have a conversation. And those are particularly pivot moments. I think when you make decisions to either leave companies or, more so leave a company than change a job, I invest a lot in the companies I joined. I joined them for a reason. And the choice to leave is a big deal. And so there's a pivot moment there where you have to sort of lay out the facts and, then lay it out to the future and say, is this still where I need to be?
Yeah.
Is this still where I can do my best work? And so anytime you came to those decisions to say, this is no longer a place where I can do my best work, then you have to make a decision about, am I willing to stay here and compromise my work?
Right.
Or am I willing to stand up for, no, I want to do my best work, and therefore I'm going to defend this boundary and seek a place that appreciates the value you bring. And so I think you always have those decisions, and every one of those is a pivot moment.
Right.